Bet you haven't heard of this particular number in quite a bit. Hello! Welcome to Sonic Free Angel Island Revisited. You can just call me Stent. Figured I'd just start off on here because, first and foremost, I wanted to actually put up the game and figured it'd be a little awkward just starting with me on a black screen, so just gonna switch us off for the time being and just get right into it. Just launch it up. The following is a non-profit fan-based parody. Original game. Ah, that brings back so many memories. Yeah, we're just gonna skip past that for the time being, and before we get ourselves real good and into the game, I figured I'd want to start things off with just a going into the lore of this game a little bit, mostly just the actual Sonic Free part. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of the actual this version of the game when I actually get into the game. But first, following immediately after the events of the West Side Island incident, remember Sonic 2, Dr. Robotnik's damaged Death Egg is on a collision course towards the planet like a giant fireball. Lying in its path towards the surface of the planet, however, is a floating landmass with towering mountains and spread out forests. The legendary Angel Island. There, Knuckles the Echidna, who is also the island's guardian, is patrolling the island's altar as he usually does, his duty being to protect the 7 Chaos Emeralds that control the power of the pillar that sleeps beneath the depths of the island and keeps the island and its animals safe. As Knuckles tries to make sure there is nothing strange going on with any of the Chaos Emeralds, however, the emeralds begin shining with a momentary flash of light. There we go. And before he can react to it, they begin vibrating abnormally, leaving the Echidna bewildered to this unknown phenomenon. As the Chaos Emerald's vibrations grow more intense, a bright flash erupts before Knuckles as the vibrations reach their climax, knocking him out. It is in this moment that the Death Egg collides with Angel Island. This tremendous impact destroys mountains and forests on the island and makes the floating island fall into the ocean and create a giant tsunami upon hitting the sea's surface. Fortunately, the island does not sink to the bottom of the ocean, however I was just going over the lore of this for a little bit, don't mind me. Hopefully you've been having a good evening. Having escaped the fallen Death Egg, Dr. Eggman picks up the signal from a seemingly giant Chaos Emerald from a crack in the island, created by the spaceship's impact. Realizing that harnessing the power of the Emerald would allow him to relaunch the Death Egg, Eggman quickly builds a base on Angel Island in order to locate the Chaos Emeralds. In addition, he starts turning the local animals into badniks and remodeling Angel Island's nature into a more severe one with an environment-changing machine. Ooh. In the meantime, Knuckles regains consciousness and discovered his body had been thrown out of the altar. Discovering the altar in a partially destroyed state, Knuckles hurries back to the altar only to find that the Chaos Emeralds have vanished without a trace. Leaving the altar dumbfounded, Knuckles soon noticed the Death Egg in a lake nearby. The sight makes Knuckles deduce that the Death Egg is a legendary dragon described in the Chaos Emerald's altar, which states that it will bring disaster to the island. Knuckles spends the next few days patrolling the altar, but can't find any traces of the Chaos Emeralds. Refusing to give up, though, Knuckles begins searching every nook and cranny of Angel Island until he discovers Dr. Eggman in a forest. Upon hearing that Knuckles is the guardian of the Chaos Emeralds, the Doctor tells him lies that he is a kind scientist who has come to investigate the Death Egg. He also warns him that he's being followed by an evil hedgehog named Sonic, who is disrupting his research and has stolen the island's Chaos Emeralds. Believing Eggman's lies, Knuckles teams up with him to foil Sonic when he arrives. And we'll leave it there. Also something about some... Yeah, we'll just leave it there. I'm fairly certain that was at least from one of the Sonic Free instruction manuals, probably the Japanese one, because of course we got over here more towards the Japanese canon nowadays. I think for this we'll just go standard Sonic and Tails. Of course... Of course we have Sonic arriving, and weirdly enough, despite what that inscription already has, he already has the 7 Chaos Emeralds on hand, and yeah, Knuckles just knocks the super right out of him. Really sort of goes to show how strong Knuckles actually is, if he can just knock the super out of you. Yet for some reason, that's never really addressed. Sonic X showers on your generations on your birthday. Oh, congratulations. Hopefully it actually does turn out to be good. I'm certainly hoping so. But for Sonic 3, however, like many people, I first played this game on Mega Collection on the GameCube, and of all the various Sonic games on there, Sonic 3 was my favorite, partly because I hadn't unlocked Sonic 3 and Knuckles yet, but mostly because, unlike the other Sonic games on there, Sonic 3 was the only one to have a save feature. So I could just come and go from playing it as I pleased, which... I must say, going from Sonic Advance, which has a save feature, to Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, which don't, really was sort of whiplash for me as a young kid. Like, how are you supposed to sit down and play this for hours at a time when you could just pick it up and play it throughout your day, say with Game Boy Advance or indeed this game? Also, the upgrading presentation of Sonic 3 helped as well, I'd say, with starting off with that stellar cutscene. You can sort of tell it. Oh, we're going with that one. Mail. I know I get a lot of questions about that, so, I prefer not to dwell on it. In any case, Sonic 3. In terms of differences with regards to the original game, aside from various bug fixes, the main thing you probably would have noticed, of course, is the widescreen. No longer in 4x3 and all that. Instead, we're going for that 16:9 goodness. I want to see if I can actually make this one. Hold up. You get a thing if you manage to get 2 invincibilities in a row. As you can probably see, I have some experience with this game. Achievement complete. Double dose of stars. Can we get out of here, please? There we go. Always thought going up that tree was super cool. It's really... You almost gotta wonder whether or not this game really was just super front-loaded with a lot of its spectacle sequences, like this whole thing. It sort of also leads me to wonder, if Knuckles is teaming up with Eggman, surely he would have noticed all the animals turning to robots upon his arrival, and would Knuckles really be alright with the fact that with Eggman's technology, the island has just burst into flames? I'm sure Eggman could just justify it saying, oh, it was Sonic who set fire to the island, and not the armada of massive robots armed with flamethrowers. But you really gotta wonder, I mean, Knuckles is more so just naive, he's not stupid. As has been pointed out in the movie. Which, I will admit it's definitely been a long, long while since I've seen movie 2. Which, of course, somewhat adapts the events of this game. Obviously, there's no Angel Island, but there is the Master Emerald, which isn't mentioned at all until Sonic and Knuckles. I can't but feel as though with this game they just sort of had an idea for the plot and then just completely changed their minds halfway through. I know realistically the story behind this was more so that, much like most PS1 games, Sonic 3 and Knuckles was too big for the console and the cartridges it was on, so it had to sort of divvy itself up into 2 cartridges. And then just sell them both individually, because why not? You gotta make your money somehow. With regards to additional bonuses with this, obviously you get additional bonus features for completing various achievables, which I'll see if I can unlock throughout this. I think one of them was the drop dash, which, if we do get time, I'll probably equip that. We're just going to see how far we can get in 2 hours. You little... I will admit these flower enemies always annoyed me when I was a lot younger. Just... look at that! Oh yeah, you can also do this with tails, I completely forgot. I'm fairly certain you can get a super high time bonus if you just beat the boss in each of these levels when the clock gets to 9:59, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to beat him as soon as I can. I don't know, though, this must have been seriously impressive for the Mega Drive. The Mega Genesis. The Jenny Drive. Ooh, I'll take that. And I'm gonna try going through all the emeralds as soon as possible, because I have a vague idea as to where the giant rings are, at least in the earlier levels. It has been a long while since I played this, however. I sort of wanted to go into this pseudo-blind, or at least having not much of a recollection of it, just as opposed to experience it as fresh as I could. Because I'll be honest, this is definitely one of my favorite Sonic games. I'll just put that out there. I'm just super annoyed that it took me forever to figure out how to actually unlock the full game in Mega Collection, because for the longest time I thought that I just simply wasn't able to until I looked on the internet and realized, oh, I just gotta play Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic 3 20 times each, which, to be fair, was easy than it made it out to be. You just had to boot it up 20 times and quit out each time. And I will also admit, these might actually be my favorite special stages. And I botched the perfect there, oh well. I always found it super weird that they could just never get the shape of the emeralds consistent in these games. Like, obviously, here it's basically the same as it is in Sonic 1 with how they're set out, I think. Could be. Then there's the more hexagonal shape in Sonic 2, and then the special stages, when you actually get them here, they're more just sort of a D12 shape. Just figured that was a little odd. Also, yeah, unless the description was sort of, you can sort of tell how old I am. Oh, thanks, Spirit. I was gonna say, this is probably gonna showcase how old I am, but this particular level in particular... Well, yeah, this level in particular just reminded me a whole bunch of, not sure you would call it a machinima. I suppose you would, considering I think it was made in-game. This old machinima called the Sonic Tales, which I don't think lasted particularly long. I think it only got up to, like... I almost showed my hand there with which way I, pronounced the second zone in this game, which obviously is gonna have to wait until we actually get there, which, at the rate we're going, probably won't take long. As long as I don't mess up this particular special stage, because I will admit, in terms of the early ones, it is certainly one of the more fiddly ones. And again, these are always nerve-wracking for me. Just one false move, you go into the bumpers, and then you just go into a red one and bite it instantly. We're just gonna go for perfects whenever we can, but otherwise, generally just try our best to just complete the special stage as best we can. There we go. There you go, the blue D12. Ah. And I think one of the old sketches, it has definitely been a while since I've seen the Sonic Tales, and I just remember the theme song for it. I'll do you a small mercy and not try to replicate it, reenact it. Maybe I will later if we're lucky, if I feel up to it. One thing that I definitely do love about Sonic 3 is the changes made to the camera. I know that's sort of a weird way of putting it, but I'm sure you've noticed that whenever you start getting up to speed and or going into a spin dash, your view sort of pans forward so you actually get a better view of what's ahead, which honestly seems so brilliant. I'm surprised that no other official Sonic game has done it. It just seems like one of those things where you see it in an actual game and you think, why isn't this a thing in every single Sonic game? It just makes so much sense. Oh, I actually made it up to the exit. I remember when those seemed so panic-inducing as a kid, and oh, I actually unlocked the drop dash. Sweet. Probably thinking I could just I could probably just unlock it once we deal with this boss. Also, yeah, you do have the option of making sure the airstrike actually hits you, which reminds me of a particular line from the IDW comics where Eggman's like, oh, I could just airstrike Sonic at any time, I'm just toying with him, but what do you call that? He did try to airstrike Sonic and he failed. It's not the sort of thing you just casually notice. It's the first level. Well, first zone, but you get what I mean. That went by surprisingly smoothly. I'll take it. Do-do-do-do. I always got a kick out of humming that last time I played this, and for some reason Knuckles is laughing despite the fact that his island's on fire. Also, fun fact, in older versions of this game, you can actually jump to avoid falling down into Hydrokaiti zone here, and just sort of spend a whole bit of time just running around the end area. Also, yeah, in terms of Team Hydrocity versus Team Hydrocity, Team Hydrokaiti, that's me. Also, I'm going the wrong direction, I think. The wrong direction for where I need to go to get this, this next giant ring. Hopefully I can still find it. It's just... Nah, I think I just got overly confident and went the upper route when I really shouldn't have. I do want to at least try to... You know what? Restart Act. Just showing you can actually get out there. English Sonic canon isn't the real canon. Sonic never had a canon to begin with. I wouldn't say that. And I'd definitely go as far to say that, there at the very least is a Sonic canon. It's just... I do get what you mean with how convoluted and mismatched a lot of it is. It is frustrating to try and keep up with it all, but... Tails. Tails, I'm gonna need your help here, buddy. Oh, there's a thing down here. I forgot. It's been a while since I've gone this particular red ring. Same red ring, giant ring. I'm getting mixed up. I'm getting old. Sonic always contradicts itself? Yeah. But I think it mostly started with, if not Heroes, then probably... maybe Shadow? Well, I'd say that's more so just following up on story plot feeds that were in Shadow, so I'm not sure whether or not that counts. I do get what you mean, though. Okay, I was in the right place the whole time. I didn't need to restart. OG Sonic had multiple sets of Chaos Emeralds? Really? I was just led to assume for the longest time that was an Archie thing, which obviously that got resolved. The way I see it, I wouldn't mind if there was just sort of a, say, definitive canon, but I'm of the mind that there should be a distinction between what is and isn't canon in the series, instead of just going scattershot, oh, don't worry, everything in this series is canon, when obviously that can't be the case. Because logic stands that no game after Adventure 2 should be canon, because the moon isn't blasted in half in any game past Adventure 2, which still baffles me to this day, honestly. It just seems like the most basic plot thing to recognize, like, oh, in this series, at one point, the whole moon just got blown up at one point. You'd think that wouldn't be such an easy thing to forget. Also, forgive me, I'm just trying to concentrate here. Gets particularly tense at the higher speeds. There we go. Sonic 1 wasn't the first time Sonic met Eggman. I mean, there's definitely multiple sources, which I suppose it depends on which version of events you're going off of. I'm more familiar, honestly, with the British version, which adapts the old Western Sonic Bible, where Sonic was a normal hedgehog until he met Kintobor in a ditch. And then he tried just sealing all the evils away inside the Chaos Emeralds, because obviously history and mythology has shown us that that's just a flawless idea. Which of course backfired, and then he became Robotnik because of it. Also, Tails, can you please... Tails! Please! Thank you. Almost had me worried there, buddy. Also, yeah, it may just be me, but your air tends to run out in this game a lot quicker than I remember. Then again, I usually just tote around a bubble shield, as far as I can recall. What is up with you, my man? Walked right into that one, Whoa, no, oh, I missed the thing. Oh, well. I'm sure I'll get more chances to get, more giant rings. I know where a couple of them are in, Marble Garden. Also super weird that this was the, the enemy that decides to make the sort of main boss of the Mania version of this level. Also, yeah, I think I screwed myself. Mentioned South Island always travels across the ocean. Yeah, I know. From what I recall of... I blame myself for that one. But yeah, from what I recall of Sonic 1 lore, apparently South Island basically teleports. Or at least just fades in between dimensions as it goes from area to area. Which doesn't really explain how it's basically turned into a massive landmass and forces. Went from a small, like, Pacific island to Pangea, basically. There we go. Just got a little overconfident last time. Hey, Finon. The whole reason Rouge exists and looks the way she does is because Knuckles is afraid of women. Yeah, I get that she was mostly there to act as a love interest for Knuckles, which is kind of hilarious now, considering they've sort of gotten rid of all romance in the series, meaning Rouge basically serves zero purpose now, aside from just being the flying counterpart to Tails for Shadow, because we gotta keep that sort of heroes dynamic for all these different characters, and we can't just have characters which just bounce off each other organically. We gotta put them in these little compartments which barely interact with anyone else outside of those particular groups. Like, I'm fairly certain I've already brought this up, but what exactly is Sonic's relationship with Vector, for example, aside from the fact that they used to be in a band together? Because you don't see them interact at all in any of the games. I mean, aside from, like, the one time I've seen Sonic actually interact with Vector was in an episode of Sonic X. That's basically what we're dealing with here. That being said, with the whole canon rigmarole, I personally wouldn't mind if there was a more distinct line between what is and isn't canon. Definitive Sonic lore like Tails Tube or Sonic Twitter or anything like that isn't actual lore, but just a band-aid when you really think about it for so. Oh yeah, I'm fully aware. I'm fully aware that Tails Tube and the lore team is just damage control. Which, good luck trying to justify, how the whole Chaos Emeralds being alien artifacts makes sense given the context of Sonic Unleashed. One of the main things I'm sort of worried about with regards to everything being canon is just everything being a bit more samey compared to in the past. Like, for instance, if they were as they are now with regards to Sonic canon, we never would have gotten some of the best stories in Archie or stuff like Secret Rings and Black Knight. I'd personally be in favor of them being more outlandish with some of the things they do with Sonic, just under the pretense that it is another canon altogether, or it doesn't adhere to the sacred timeline, to put it that way. I was thinking, it's been a long time since I've talked about Sonic. It's just, I've almost been itching to get back into it. Old-fashioned life insurance. I'm fairly certain that was an Angry Nerd quote. Hopefully I haven't screwed myself here. Okay, 8 left. I think I'm just gonna have to jump for it! Also, yeah, if you time it just right, you can jump over 2 of the spheres. More key bizarre to keep Sonic fans delusionized to believe that there is a canon when in reality Sonic never had a canon. I wouldn't say Sonic never had a canon. I'd say for the most part, aside from small details which might have just been lost in translation from Japanese to English, I mean, obviously, with regards to Western canon, we never heard anything about Knuckles and some sort of prophecy about a giant dragon egg, which he mistook the Death Egg for. That obviously was never at all established in the Western sense, but I'd say, generally speaking, also I never could figure out how to properly avoid those ones. I'm of the mind that there could potentially be a canon that just needs a lot of pruning. I guess a fair bit more in terms of management as to what is and isn't canon. Also, fairly certain the next red it isn't up here. I thought it was. I guess I just got mixed up all the various places I was supposed to go, and I just ended up in a shortcut accidentally. The way I see it, canon just being a buzzword. Canon being overarching lore and reality. Sonic's timelines of Super Mario turns and characters are merely actors' toys for whatever story they want to do. Yeah, I get that, but I'd say even here, in this game, there was at least some overarching story, given the events of Sonic 2, which it follows directly from. I wouldn't say it's immediately just ultra comparable to Super Mario in that sense, because obviously Mario never made the attempt, whereas Sonic did. You do hear references to Sonic CD and Sonic Furry in Adventure, which then just sort of compact on each other in Adventure 2 and, to less of extent, Heroes. I get that a lot of people are upset about it. I'm obviously of the mind that I'm sort of over it, but would rather not just accept things for as they are and just consume product and get excited for the next product. I still think things could be better, let's just put it that way. As for whether things will actually get better, well, let's just say I have other sources for if I do want sort of engrossing stories. Like, I've been having a great time with Final Fantasy VII. With its story, so I suppose it's just a matter of expectations. Obviously, if the story is bad, it's bad, but generally speaking, in terms of what I look for in this series, I think I'm more sort of, over wanting this whole thing to make sense. I would rather just go back to enjoying the things I do enjoy and generally avoiding the things I don't. You may call that ignorance, but honestly, I'd rather be happy than right at this point. Hearing everything else that's going on in the world. Oh. A way to fix the Sonic canon would be either a hard or soft reboot. Yeah, I've thought that in the past, thinking that... Oh. So I did manage to attain Super Sonic. How about that? Also, yeah, I got the prototype version of this theme because I'd rather not just be listening to the invincibility theme for minutes on end. Also, I generally think it's just a neat little theme. I'll probably just go into details with regards to Hypersonic when we actually unlock Hypersonic. So I'm just trying to focus a little bit. There we go. There we go. I'm wondering whether or not I want to do sort of some major thing with regard... Oh. I'm not sure whether or not this is a mod thing, or just a particular option in Sonic 3 Air, but yeah. Apparently Sonic can get a super dash, much like Hypersonic, except it's not a screen node, which... pretty cool, we'll say. Right, I think at this point I'm gonna actually go and equip the drop dash because I forgot to do so. Good old Marble Garden. I'll be back in a moment, so I'm gonna go over to extras, read all about it, and we... There we go, options, controls. Drop dash on. Apparently there's a whole bunch of other stuff we can unlock, some of which looks vaguely familiar. Alright, let's carry on. I suppose the fact that I am just going back and playing this of all things as my first callback to Sonic, I kind of all but wonder whether or not it actually is just emblematic of my thoughts on the series at this point, which is... Obviously, this is a series that I've loved for years on end since I got it on the GameCube. Rather discuss my favorite series anyway for too many societal problems I can't... Yeah, let's not bring that up here. Generally, I prefer to play games on here that I would personally enjoy, I suppose, on a similar topic, which probably means it will be a long, long time since I actually play Unleashed, because I don't necessarily have too happy a history with that one. It's just one marked with frustration, if anything. I'd be willing to give it another shot on stream at some point, just... it probably won't be for a while. Super satisfying to do. No idea if we'll actually get enough rings in order to get to the magic number 300, but I shall try. Also can't help but wonder, I suppose, in terms of the IDW comics, in particular. I think Frontiers is also somewhat guilty of this as well. With how it goes about delving out its fan service. Obviously, fan service on paper at least is a good thing, just giving the fans what they want, but more so in the way they go about delivering it is very, very similar to something like the Ahsoka series, where it's less so about giving the fans what they actually want and more so about just simple key generating. Like, hey, you remember this, you remember Adventure 2, you remember Chaos, you remember this particular thing that happened in this game. That sort of thing. Never been a fan of IDW's writing. I'm not sure in particular if that's just strictly Sega mandates, because that wouldn't really apply to the movies or Sonic Prime, for example. Because they've been released around similar times as the comic, and they've been notably different and had notably more creative freedom, so it's... You can't help but wonder sort of what exactly is IDW's excuse. Or more specifically Ian. It feels like he definitely brings a lot of his IDW-isms into Frontiers. There's lots and lots of callbacks and none of the sort of quality of writing that he exuded back in the Archie run. Fairly certain there's another thing around here as well. There we go. I suppose to give my final thoughts on this whole canon thing, I do understand more than anyone the frustration behind it. Because it's been a point of frustration for me with this series for a long, long time, but at this point I'm sort of over it. I'm just content with just enjoying the games I like and happily ignoring games which either contradict or just aren't all that good. I suppose you'd say it's some of the Star Wars fans in that sense, how they're just sort of left to forget everything Disney has made for the series. Aside from maybe Andor. Yeah, I'm still a little disheartened that there's no official way to actually attain any of the Archie comics, at least legally anymore. I get that they sort of want to have everything adhere to this sacred canon of theirs, which again, I'd rather just have a little bit more leeway, a little bit more creative freedom. Just have some games which are definitely canon and other projects which definitely aren't. Because if it really is that whole everything is canon mentality they're going with, then with Prime they shot themselves in the foot practically instantly. It's kind of hilarious that way. That being said, I am not someone who is strictly anti-canon in that sense. I want to make that clear, because again, I've stressed over this in my own time for years and years, basically before Frontiers came out, and I think it was George R.R. Martin before he gave up basically and stopped writing, or at least disdained never to finish the books everyone wanted him to finish. That canon is, like it or not, important to a series, because otherwise any sort of believability or investment in a story just sort of crumples like tissue paper. Because if there is no canon, then there is nothing to be invested in. Which, I guess works fine for something like Mario, where, for the most part, it is generally low stakes. Just play the game, enjoy it, have some fun with it. It really feels like Sonic has just in a long time just been in a super awkward spot in that, where it tries to delve in both worlds. I suppose talking about Carnival Night here, we're actually starting to get into the levels with the copyrighted music, which sort of was a surprise for me, at least with this level, because it seems more so just super on brand for what this level was going for, which I suppose was sort of the point initially. But yeah, I'm super used to just hearing this version of the track rather than the one which was in the PC version and Origins, which I suppose at this point I may as well talk a little bit about Origins. I never got Origins, otherwise I would be playing Sonic 3 in the Origins collection and not here. Mostly just because the controversy behind the nature of the ports, how they're not just sort of proper remasters and more so just remade in the retro engine and not strictly one for one, with a lot of glitches. Something which should have been sort of a super easy sell for me, finally getting widescreen versions of the classic games on PC after so long. And yet they still messed it up. That's when I just opted to go with Sonic with this version instead, which fixes a lot of the problems and with mods adds a whole bunch more. Also, yeah, this boss is very unfortunately shaped. I couldn't help but unsee it when I had it pointed out to me when I was younger, how you just hit it and it just does that. Also, I think I broke it. There you go. Just think, if this was Sonic Superstars, this fight would have like 3-hour intervals between each hit. And I suppose with the way the top is going, it sort of does, but you get what I made. I have not played Superstars since I last streamed it, and at this rate, I am still more than happy to keep it that way. Just the way that game was put together, and a lot of the design decisions just seem straight up baffling to me. With how its bosses are designed, and while the Emerald Powers seemed cool, at least on paper, they were either super over-centralizing to the game experience, or just completely niche with practically no uses like Vine. Excuse me. Just generally felt, to me at least, just especially with how long the bosses took. It's like they looked at New Super Mario Bros. And just took away just a lot of the wrong lessons, which I suppose you could say is just a tradition of Sonic Team, just always learning the wrong lessons. Which sort of leads me to wonder whether or not the quote-unquote right lessons are more so just subjective than anything else. Boom, boom. Yeah, I received news of that. I don't think I'll be going to see that one. But here we are, the infamous barrel, which, I'm gonna be honest, the whole moving the D-pad up and down thing surprisingly seemed natural to me. I suppose it just comes from the fact that when you jump on it, it moves up and down a little bit, which I guess is supposed to be the hint. No idea how I managed to get that as a kid, but I'm just gonna say it's a lot more intuitive than the End Supreme in Final Horizon. At least it's a fair bit more simple to understand, and the mechanic isn't just introduced to you right at the beginning of the game. Knuckles, your entire island is being techno-formed right in front of you, and you're chuckling? Honestly, what is with that guy? His island has been turned into this nightmarish carnival boardwalk pier. Ah, thanks. I am surprised you could cope with my particular ramblings. It's like, ah yes, like most Sonic fans, I too have the articulation of an amiibo. I will admit, despite getting at least one time over on here, I never thought that Carnival Night was all that bad. I get that a lot of people just generally hate the barrels, but considering how seemingly easy it was for me for some reason, it just seemed like a fairly chill level, even if this particular part... Some particular part with those air booster things are generally annoying at some parts, where you're just trying to go one way, and it sends you another way. Generally, though, I do at least appreciate a lot of the thrill of the speed this level gives you. Crushing hazards, not so much. We... I suppose that's the thing, really, just thinking back to this whole cannon debacle. I get why people are upset, but at this point, I'd rather just sit back and enjoy parts of the series which I can. Which, granted, is mostly just stuff before 2010. You know, the dreaded era. That being said, it has been a long while since I played Colors, so maybe I should give that another shot at some point as well. Just, probably not Colors Ultimate. I'll probably just have to pray that my Wii U still works by the time I get round to it. So I think with regards to this level, I think here the balloons still... Oh. Yeah, that was a thing in the original game where the blue balloons in this level would turn gold... would mirror Supersonic's gold color when you transform, because they use the same color palette. There's little details like that in this game, which just, they always end up fixing, though. One thing that I do sort of prefer from Sonic 3 Complete, which is another, I suppose, ROM hack of Sonic 3, which also has a lot of the same bug fixes, is Supersonic has his own unique sprites, as opposed to just having a lot of the same sprites Sonic has. Aside from, of course, standing, crouching, running, etc. And of course, you just easily trivialize Eggman here. See, I mean... Suppose you already know this, but fun fact! Did you know that in the original zone order for Sonic 3, you were originally supposed to use this cannon to go to Flying Battery? Subscribe for more super cool Sonic facts. Also, here's hard times. I want to see if I can actually get the 50 rings on there. Hold on. It's been a long time, I will admit, so I'll have to see if I can remember. This is sure to fill up time. Now I'll probably just have to get that on my own time. Actually... maybe not. Okay, never mind. I still remember 2000 Sonic animations. That's a... I was... secret between you and me. I was initially planning at some point to actually do a stream where I just go for all the Final Fantasy Sonic X games at some point. Because I do have a lot of good memories, at least of X5. A lot of people say X6. But X5 was the one I remember. I figured it would be neat if I just sort of took that little trip down memory lane, as it were. Also, this must be just an absolute nightmare to go through normally, just... I mean, if you're a normal person, just falling down here seemingly forever into just this weird... space-time loop you've just entered. I will admit, actually getting up that climb was always annoying for me as a kid. It still kind of is. Thankfully, I have the Super Saiyan now, so it's not too much of an issue. And the funniest joke was Amy non-consented Sonic, which... problematic? I can see that. I suppose that was just the culture of the 2000s, when everything was just the most edgy. Part of me misses it, another part of me doesn't, just, The main thing that comes to my mind when it comes to just... to the 2000s, in particular the mid-2000s, is, COD lobbies. Specifically, stuff like Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2. Obviously I didn't play them, but I had a lot of classmates when I was younger who just sort of obsessed over those games, which naturally meant I became averse to them of my own accord. So naturally I didn't partake, but I imagine it was, certainly a time. Like, for example, going back, for example, and watching something like Breaking Bad, which I've been doing bits and pieces of recently, seeing a lot of the phrases and terminology they used back in that show, just definitely of the time, to put it politely. Find this game average and not mediocre? Well, what would you consider to be, as in terms of just Sonic or in general? Because I'm certain in general, yes, you can just find a lot of better games out there, especially nowadays. Always found Sonic 3K to be the least enjoyable classic game. Oh. Well, what makes you think that? Because the way I see it, it doesn't have the sort of, bugginess of Sonic 1 with stuff like the spike glitches, or the annoying enemy placement and wonky hit detection of Sonic 2, and the non-Euclidean level design of Sonic CD. Sorry, I was just looking at chat. I will admit, I always quite liked this particular track. Just felt, I suppose, super chill, for lack of a better word. Just felt that was the sort of thing that was just a pleasure just listening to as I blitz through this somewhat relaxing level. Also, I never got this. There's just seemingly infinite rings around here, and another... Come on, Tails, let's see if we can actually get all these rings. Let's see if we can break 300. We just go up here, I think. I'm gonna say, I think there's just straight up another set of rings up there as well. It may just be in original Sonic 3, may just be Knuckles. Not a big fan of Sonic 3's level design, oh. I suppose I could see that in some regards, in terms of just having a lot of crushing hazards, especially this early on in the game, like the ones in Hydrokaiti, the ones in Marble Garden, this level, Carnival Night, and fairly soon there's also going to be crushing hazards in the next level, which we're already coming to the end of Sonic 3 Normal. It's launch base. Sonic simply not emphasize on exploration rather than arcadey level design. Yeah, I can kind of see that. And I'm fairly certain you can still get a fair bit of arcadey fun from some of these levels, but I see what you mean with regard in comparison to, say, Sonic 2's level philosophy, or just Green Hill Zone's level philosophy, because I will admit I'm sort of one of those Sonic fans who isn't the biggest fan of the first game. I mean, it's fine, it just feels it suffers from, ironically similar to the first Legend of Zelda, where it's definitely good, but it pales in comparison to its contemporaries, which just improve on just so many things. Least favorite flying battery. I think I get you on that. Flying battery was never one of my favorites either. I mean, it's definitely grown a fair bit more appreciation for it with Mania, for example, but honestly, I'd kind of want to keep Mania discussions to whenever I'd stream Mania, though I suppose I could just give a little bit of a small thing here. I go as far to say as that Mania is the best Sonic game ever made. That's all really, just all things considered, just quality-wise, just gameplay-wise, level-wise, just... Sure, some games may have individually better things about them. Knuckle Chaotix, how you do exploration right. I will admit, I never got the chance to play Knuckles Chaotix, mostly because, for some reason, Sega still is seemingly allergic to porting that game in any semblance. I'd be down to playing it, it's just seemingly impossible to play it physically without an actual 32X, which I don't have. Also will admit, this whole level here does sort of remind me of the OVA, mostly just with regards to the snail enemies here, which were also in the OVA. Which I got, I think, Christmas 2004? That sounds about right, just either that or as a late birthday present 2004, just Just one day, I think it was in November, I was told, oh hey, here's a late birthday present, and it was the Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie. I mean, obviously I was intrigued, but actually looking into it, whilst it seemingly had nothing to do setting or story-wise with any of the other games I was familiar with, was back then I was sort of introduced to a mishmash of different Sonic canons, with Japanese with the games, British with the 1993 yearbook, and the... at least one of the Martin Adams books. I do have one of them. Would definitely like to actually read through the rest of them, though, at some point. Also, I think I'm just going around in circles. Oh! I'm not going around in circles at this point. Yeah, I suppose I'll have no choice but to do that for Knuckles Chaotix. It is a shame, really, because it just seemed like this super intriguing, elusive game, where just the secret origin of the Chaotix, which were reintroduced in Sonic Heroes, and yet they're completely different characters. The fact that they went ahead and actually changed the characteristics of the Chaotix at all just seems super bizarre to me, but I'm fairly certain there was a reason for it, but I've forgotten. I mean, that being said, I do definitely like the more modern Chaotix. I'd probably go as far to say that, at this point, Vector might be one of, if not my favorite Sonic character, just in sheer terms of relatability. Oh hey, Knuckles. It's super weird that the marking of this chest in this game is peach-skinned. I think that's mostly just due to this particular version of the sprite, though. Intentionally revert with no consent for the original oh. So it makes you wonder why they bothered to bring them back in at all. I guess they needed more characters to add to the roster, but at the same time... Team Hooligan? Then again, I'm not sure whether or not they had the rights to Team Hooligan either. Or, you know, Mighty and Ray. It does sort of sour things a little bit, admittedly. And here we are in Press Garden Act 1. I'm serious. I noticed this even, I think, when the first time I played Mania. Just Press Garden Act 1 was just Launch Base Zone Act 2, minus the flamethrowers. I suppose that's more so just my big, I suppose, negative criticism towards Mania. It's just the fact that, just the reuse of level design. I know a lot of people get on the level themes, I'm more so just talking about level design and level assets, because there is a lot of stuff from this game which was lifted from to make levels in Mania. Like, for instance, Stardust Speedway Act 1 is just Marble Garden Act 1 with a plant growing mechanic. Yeah, admittedly, I wasn't certain as to exactly what the deal was with Eggman Nega at this point, because he ended up basically being used in two completely separate games with two completely separate backstories, where he's both an alternate universe version of Eggman, but at the same time his descendant from 200 years in the future. This seems super duper messy to me. What's hilarious is I think even his trophy in Smash Bros. Wii U pointed that out. Just like, what's his deal? He's both from here and here. What's up with that? Then again, it was the European version of Smash Wii U trophy descriptions, which, from what I recall, were significantly more unhinged. Would be fun to actually just do that at some point. Just go onto a stream and just read through all the trophy descriptions. I mean, obviously that would mean having to 100% Smash Wii U, which... no thank you. But I suppose just going off and trying to find some more of the just generally more unhinged ones should be a fun treat nonetheless. One that also seemed weird to me is just sort of how front-loaded all the water levels are in this game. It's like, you have Hedgehog, you have Ice Cap, you have Carnival Night, and you have Launch Base, and there's just no more water levels for the rest of the game. Just seems super weird to me. Also, I will admit, going into this, it's been a fair bit since I've gotten all the Super Emeralds, so I might not remember where all the giant rings are. Raising Classic don't appear in modern because Sonic Team don't own this, they don't want to acknowledge them in modern games. Gotcha. Suppose it is kind of unfortunate, really, just... But I suppose putting it like that does, at the very least, give it a little bit of closure, I suppose you could say. Just knowing, ah, that was why, this is why it is. I probably shouldn't have done this, I'm wasting rings. But yeah, let's just quickly delete Eggman real quick. It's like, usually that's kind of a tricky boss, but just... It's hilarious how much it gets trivialized. Also, the water is very purple, I noticed. Also, bye, Knuckles. Enjoy getting burnt in the ignited rocket engines. No idea how Knuckles actually survived that, just being underneath a rocket as it launches. That was like a whole big thing in Final Fantasy VII. Also, yeah, being this close to the heat of the rocket boosters would probably just straight up melt or just tear apart the Eggmobile, but then again, Sonic can breathe in space. I definitely get that logic wasn't exactly the main focus of this series. Yeah, I've definitely heard a lot of stuff about about good old Kenneth. Oh, here we go. I was gonna say, it would be nice if I could actually get in there without getting hit with that once, but alas. Also, yeah, I put in a couple of mods for this particular game, just more so as a means of spicing things up a little. Nothing related to the gameplay, more so just to the music, as you'll probably see in a bit. Or hear. This always used to be super tense for me doing this normally as a kid and not as supersonic. There we go, sorted. Mostly jet boosted with melt Sonic skin like cheese on a pizza. Yeah, that's definitely a morbid way of putting it. But again, Sonic can breathe in space. I'm not even talking of like Adventure 2, where you can justify, oh, the Ark has an oxygen field around it, and it covers the part of it that was also blown off when the Eclipse cannon was unleashed, which for some reason they keep seemingly forgetting the fact that the Ark was once just a moon, with just a bit that blows off beforehand. It generally feels like, while if they want to continue the plot of Adventure 2, they keep forgetting plot details of Adventure 2. Oh hey, we're just getting into the Sonic and Knuckles portion, where Knuckles is presumably hiding away all his grape-flavored snacks, because get it? He likes grapes! He likes grapes! He throws grapes at enemies! Yeah, I've heard that argument levered towards, Frontiers in terms of how it handles a lot of the characters, because it's like, oh, Amy's a big fan of tarot cards, let's have her attack people with tarot cards. Tails is a mechanic, so he throws wrenches at people. Knuckles likes grapes, he has a grape bazooka, like Crash Bandicoot. I feel as though I'm giving him ideas with that one. Knuckles used to be a cat before being a kitten. Huh. And I'm guessing that a lot of those original design ideas were used for Blaze. Or at the very least, I wouldn't be surprised. In terms of character backstory, she does have a lot of similarities to Knuckles, with her not being the most sociable characters, and generally her role being the guardian of the world-ending artifact sort of thing. I think I've already been that way. And this way. Oh. But yeah, we've officially reached the end of Sonic 3 in decent time as well, I'd say. And now the Death Egg has just crashed again. It would be... I kind of wonder whether or not it would have been nice if they'd added the Sonic and Knuckles intro where the Death Egg crashes into the volcano as a little addition in this particular ROM hack. Slash fan game, slash fan recreation, etc. There we go. Always reusing characterizations with some spins on it. I will admit a lot of the particular Sonic discourse which has been going on fairly recently with regards to choices made by Sonic Team. More than once, it's led me to question why exactly I am a Sonic fan to begin with, and if I had to say, it would be the classic games, the adventure games, Heroes to less of an extent, generally all the stuff pre-2010. I suppose specifically pre-2013, because I definitely do enjoy Generations, and I'm sort of happy seeing that as sort of the last big hurrah of the series. Again, I don't exactly remember where all I keep saying red rings, giant rings are in this stage, so I may end up missing some. It is possible to get all the Super Emeralds in this level, however, or more specifically in Mushroom Hill. As for whether I will, though, probably not. Mostly because I don't remember. Still so, the drop dash. Initially, I know at the very least it was at least planned for Sonic 3 before being dropped. It's amazing how just sort of defining this has been since Mania came out. Just like every single game since Mania's come out has had the drop dash. It's been in Forces, it's been in Frontiers, it's been in Superstars. It's probably gonna be in the next game, and just every game after that. Psychonauts' transition is in Sonic Origins and Sonic 3 Complete. Okay, I knew it was somewhere, and would you look at that, only one Super Emerald, when I'm pretty certain you could get 4 here. I'm hoping at the very least we can find places to make up for it, but let's just say don't be surprised if we end up without all the Super Emeralds. Did I mention Shadow's characterization is a carryover from OVA Metal Sonic? Yeah, you did. You did. What if Green Hill didn't show up in a Sonic game? I mean, I suppose we'd get Sonic Adventure, because it showed up in Adventure 2, it showed up sort of in Heroes with Seaside Hill. I'm probably just gonna play for this as normally as I can. Hopefully we'll come across some giant rings. Wouldn't be a Sonic King without Green Hill. Unfortunately. Just seems like we can never escape. I also found it super weird that this, of all levels, was the one chosen for the Sonic Generations on 3DS, which also leads me to wonder whether or not they at least had the plans to put the 3DS levels in Sonic 8 Shadow Generations. Probably not, but I think it would have been pretty cool. I mean, obviously you have Green Hill still, but you'd have Carnival Night, Casino Night. Missed a special stage? Yeah, I know. I know. I missed a whole bunch of them. I'm gonna see if I can go back and find some more, actually. Hold up. Because I'm fairly certain there's at least one you can get in the transition from Autumn to Mossy Pot. At the very least, I do want to at least try getting all the Super Emeralds, but obviously I don't remember where most of them are. Four rings, Acts 1 and 2, yeah. So at the very least you do get a lot of opportunities to get the various red rings. Here's one, here's one. We'll go for this one next. I think it's oh no, it's this one. This one was always a pain to try and perfect. No, no, no. Right, right, we'll just carry on. I never liked that particular special stage. I'm gonna see if there's anything over here, actually. Hold. The answer is nothing. I've been bamboozled. Oh gee, this looks oddly inconspicuous. And just like that, it's just never got why I just changed back to the Act 1 Mushroom Hill for this, and wow, such graphics. This must have looked amazing back in 94. It really does look like it has a 3D effect. It looks like an effect I'd see on the PS1. I always thought that was kind of funny as well, just how he bumps into the tree. Did you know, in the original Sonic 3, the original zone order proved that after Mushroom Hill, or Mushroom Forest as it was called, you go straight to Sandopolis. Tune in next time for more fun Sonic facts. And here we go, time for more Mania representation. Most of these always trying to do throwbacks instead of actually going forward with the future graphics. How more advanced could it realistically get, though? Because at least with the indie titles, with the throwbacks, you get art styles which generally look good regardless of graphical fidelity. Cassette Piece was one which I thought looked pretty good. It's mostly sprite-based stuff in a 3D environment. Which enemy is Eggman more likely to make Evil Clown? Don't mean realistically, you mean cartoon/anime. I mean... Again, I feel there's only so far you could realistically go in terms of graphics. I think games like Mario Odyssey and the Zelda games on Switch sort of go to show that you don't need super duper high-tech graphics to have a game that still looks great. Especially Mario Odyssey, it's just... That game just looks so far ahead of a lot of stuff which is ported to the Switch. Like, compare how Mario Odyssey looks to Frontiers on the Switch especially, just... night and day difference, and it just looks like some... muddy, depressing nightmare with a whole bunch of pop-in. Never liked those things. All of a sudden, surprise! Crush Hazard. Yeah, needless to say, I am not as familiar with the Sonic and Knuckles portion of this game, because when I was a kid, playing this on Sonic Mega Collection, I hadn't unlocked Sonic 3 and Knuckles, so spent most of my time just playing Sonic 3 and getting really good at that. Let's say really good, just generally competent. Hold on, I think I remember there being one up here. Tails, work with me here. Okay, you got these things, you got these weird looking chute things which you go up. And then try not to get hit by the fire. And then, yeah, you push this one in particular, and we're back here again. I'm gonna try this one next. To be fair, graphics presentation do matter since Super Mario Wonder and Mario Superstars. I'm fairly certain for a lot of its presentation, Mario Wonder you actually still use JPEGs for a lot of its effects. I remember hearing that at least once. Like I think it was the mountains in the opening level. I mean, Superstar still doesn't look too terrible, just... Again, have a lot of bad memories with Superstars. Oh, so yeah, welcome to Ice Drain the level. Just nice, bright green and yellow. There we go, I was looking for you. So that should leave another niner somewhere. Have you seen a niner? There we go. Again, with the music getting faster as well, it's just... It's like this particular special stage is just waiting for you to mess up, which... I'll be honest, I do prefer compared to the Sonic 2 special stages, where it's more so just Tails screwing you over. There it is, last one. Perfect. Just had to get the lights, and that's another continue, which at this point, considering I don't think there's actually lives, is kind of pointless. I think we just walk to the left here, and we end up out here. And I definitely have my work cut out for me trying to find, what was it, like 5 more? I know there's technically an exploit which I used to do as a kid in order to just straight up unlock all the emeralds in Hidden Palace. There was another one right here. Because I know you could do that. I think... I'll go this one next. I think it gets harder the further you go out. I think that's the... that's how it works. I remember this one as well. This one was also, interesting to perfect. Still get Vietnam flashbacks to Emerald number 7. Yeah, that jump in particular had to really, it was like, hey, did you know? Did you know that you can jump 2 squares in Blue Sphere? I think I got this, though. This is arguably one of the least offensive of the Super Emerald Blue Sphere things, and they actually look like the Chaos Emeralds for once. Hooray! Never tendency to share the truth, as I tend to brush away personal opinions, as to be honest, it never mattered to begin. Oh, don't say that. Don't say that. I'm gonna be honest, I used to think a lot of the same way, thinking that a lot of my stuff didn't matter, but... How am I supposed to put this? Not sure if I should be the sort of person to really be giving this sort of stuff out, but... Like, if you were to ask me, like, 5 years ago that I would be streaming video games, I wouldn't believe you. Well, that's because I had a little push and figured, hey... I might not be right all the time, but it's still, at the very least, okay for me to be here. And there's no harm in, at the very least, putting my opinions out there. They may not coincide with everyone else, but they're mine. Or at least, I aim for them to be. There's no harm in having your opinion reinforced by objective truths. But you're still you, and you have your own thoughts, and there's no harm at least putting them out there and seeing what happens. Like, obviously I may flub a lot of what I try to say, but I try at the very least to say stuff that I've at the very least made peace with. And I'm hopeful that one day you might be able to do the same. Because the fact we're here playing this is indication enough that in some small way, even if we disagree on various things like art style, narrative direction, gameplay styles, etc., we all love this series in one way or another. And I'm happy to just share enjoyment of that. Find stuff that we all enjoy about this series and generally celebrate that. Like, what do we like about this series? I mean, it's fairly easy to say that a lot of stuff is characterization and certain types of gameplay that have since been squandered by lesser products, like a lot of the stuff in the late 2010s. But if we weren't Sonic fans, ultimately I don't think we would be here. We'd be playing something else. Oh, and I don't have access to Super Sonic anymore. And I don't remember where any of the giant rings are in this stage, so hip hip hooray. Not as irrelevantized? It's very easy to think that way. You know, with social media making us believe that a lot of what everyone thinks is just nothing but discourse, and everyone is doing a lot better than you are, showcasing their mansions, which they probably don't actually have, and showcasing a lot of vanity in their lifestyles, when in reality they're nowhere near as glamorous as they'd like you to have them believe. It's very easy to get caught up in that. I feel as though I've been spared a lot of that due to just getting clear of most of the social media platforms relatively early, back in 2016. I think it's just safe to say that being terminally online in any sense is just straight up unhealthy. And can very easily lead you to believing things like that. Forced to hate their own series due to stigma surrounding Sonic. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I get that. Especially due to the funny Chin Man. I could definitely see that. I mean, obviously, around that sort of time, I'd moved on to play other things. I think it was playing Breath of the Wild, actually, which just reminded me, first and foremost, that games could just straight up be good without any strings attached or any asterisks next to them. Games could generally just be good full stop. And by extension, Sonic had the potential to. Whether he'd reach it or not still remains to be seen. It's like I've been waiting basically since Sonic Heroes for that next sort of game which is just straight up good. I mean, you could argue that Heroes isn't... whether Heroes is actually good or not. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it's high art or anything, but it's at the very least an enjoyable experience. And I think just going back and playing a lot of these old games would help sort of remind me as to why I liked them in the first place. Like, for instance, one game which I remember liking particularly was Mario and Sonic Vancouver 2010, the Winter Olympics one, with the Dream figure skating against Perfect Chaos. Seemed ridiculous, but at the time I thought it was awesome. And honestly, I'd say it still kind of is. Some folks may disagree, but I'm not other folks. As you can probably tell by how I look. This particular segment always used to, for that reason, always tended to screw me over as a kid. Just that one ramp in particular just very, very easily could lead to your death. I feel as once you get past that and just to here, you're basically set. Enter funny monkey. I will admit that I always thought that little sprite of Eggman there, just down there in this little contraction, I always thought that was generally just quite cute. A bit unfortunate about the design again though, just those two spheres on the bottom. Hey Zeus. I will be honest, well, this boss is nothing special. I do personally prefer the spider boss from Mania. Maybe it's just because I'm just more used to that one. Anyway, time for what is mostly considered the worst level in the game. Or the worst zone in the game. Not sure how long we'll actually be able to keep going, but I'd say we've made some fairly decent progress for these 2 hours. Like, after this, it's just Lava Reef, and Hidden Palace, and Sky Sanctuary, Death Egg. The big boiler guy from oh yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen stuff to do with Conker, but I get what you mean. It's like memory flashbang right there. I kind of wish I actually got the chance to play Conker, because it does seem like just, whilst definitely unhinged, just a straight up just fun game. Of course, I got introduced to a fair few of the jokes in this series with the advent of the internet. It's like obviously the Great Mighty Pooh, the sunflower, which probably explains a fair bit about me at the moment. The whole Matrix thing, the whole final boss segment, and the fourth wall breaking ending, just 2000s really loved their female groin and male groin shots. What can I say? It was a time of sex and violence. Especially violence. I know some people may want to shy away from that and wish that it didn't exist. Honestly, I'm just of the mind that that's the 2000s, baby. Like, the 70s was filled with hunger, strikes, and communism. That's the 70s. The 80s was filled with action movies and smoking. That's the 80s. You know, 2010s was full of nihilism. Yep, that's the 2010s. May not have been very good, but that was the 2010s. Just wanted to quickly grab that monitor real quick. No real reason, just it was there. Also, I don't really remember where any of the giant rings are in this level either, but it was mostly just Mushroom Hill where I usually get them, and I usually just had the map in front of me while I did it. This Sonic Origins? Nope, it's Sonic Free Angel Island Revisited. Which is like a fan recreation of Sonic Free, which does away with a lot of the bugs. And also adds in a whole bunch of new features like achievables, it has the drop dash, it has the super peel out. It doesn't have Amy though. Emulate it? No. Surprisingly enough. And I say ROM hack, but I suppose that's sort of the wrong term. I would say fan game, but I'd say fan recreation is more of a fan restoration, fan recreation. Feel nostalgic for classic Sonic games? Yeah, I don't blame you. Still feel it's just wild that it took us this so long to actually get official Taxman and Stealth-esque PC ports of at least Sonic 1 and 2. I think most people have just been happy just having those out ages and ages ago. I'd rather not get into those particular types of talking points on here, but the games are absolutely incredible to play. Yeah. I'd say the best thing we can all just do is just try to find something which generally gives us joy, and I always want to say keep to ourselves, but I don't think that's quite right. Also, yeah, the easiest boss in the game, by the way, just in your own time, buddy. I know you can just knock him over here, but I find it funny for him to just walk over here on his own accord. That's it, just one more step. There you go. How many emeralds do I have so far? Unfortunately, I think just 3. I have not been very lucky with finding giant rings. Hopefully that will change in the worst level in the game, though. Sandopolis Act 2. I remember when everybody hated this level. And then of course they brought back the mechanic in Oil Ocean, and that wasn't so bad, and they brought it back again for Superstars, and it was bad again. Obviously you didn't have the time switches back then. And there we are, the ghosts. The bane of my existence for this whole level. It's kind of crazy that these guys were just around for a single level and then but still just made such an impact. It's like I disliked these things so much the first time, in order to complete it I had to go into debug mode. Just skip through the whole level when I was a kid. Not something I'm necessarily proud of now, but hopefully now would be a good time to change that. Also, I need to definitely, I missed the thing. I think I'm in trouble. If you love the zones, more power to you. Yeah, I can definitely see. There we go. Hopefully this won't be the first time we get a time over. There we go. That's the way I need to go. I remembered. Also, yeah, even here, there was just all these human-like carvings on the walls. Just sort of shooting any semblance of the fact that the classic canon and Dreamcast canon were of completely different timelines out of the window right away. Also, yeah, you could just push this with a spin dash. I'm kind of weird going through some depressive episodes. It's fine, it's fine. Let's just say I've been around a fair few people who are also like that. It's very easy in times like these to get into that sort of rut. Also, could you go away, please, ghosts? Yeah, I can definitely feel as though that particular trapdoor can just mess you up. Even here, there's the crushing hazards. A lot more talking outside. I think I forgot to close the window. What happened? I just nearly got crushed. As is always the case in this game. Like, even here with the doors, it's also just a big crushing hazard. Okay, I think we're good. Also, I think we're about to get eaten by the ghosts. Because, of course, they got a lot bit more spookier when it gets darker. It always seems weird that that throughout all these various Sonic games, the one big consistent factor at the very least is just spooky ghosts. Oh, I was gonna say I think I screwed myself there, but I didn't. I'm still alive, barely. That was the most malicious set of spikes I've ever seen. There we go. I think we should be getting close to the end now. Then again, this level, I do recall, goes on for a fair bit. I'm thinking we'll get to the end of this level and then I'll call it a night. Hopefully I'll get a chance to do some more stuff in order to get any remaining Super Emeralds, but let's just say I wouldn't be surprised if I had to go back all the way through to Angel Island again just to gather up the rest of the Super Emeralds, because I remember that being something you could do in both this game and Mania. Also kind of weird that that abseiling mechanic hasn't made a comeback in any other Sonic games. This generally seems like a cool little set piece you could have. It's just sort of something like in Metal Gear Solid 1. Where you're abseiling to try and avoid the gunship. Finally, light switch. Thank you, Tails. You're actually being useful for once. Also, where am I going? Oh, there we go. Could have sworn there was some sort of Aha! I knew there was a giant ring around here somewhere. Better this game than Well, it has been a while, and I do have a fair bit of experience with this game. Also, I think I'm just gonna... This is probably gonna be a mistake. I'm gonna grab all these rings here. I remember this particular special stage being a bit of a maze. So may get a little dicey. Just gotta go for tapping the control stick rather than holding it. That was my mistake when I first played this when I was a kid. I was holding the right stick, like, go right, and just going right into a red sphere. Okay, I don't think it was this one which was so bad. Yeah, this one was fairly easy. I think I'm thinking of another one. There we go. Do you need to go in a special order? I don't. Well, I'm glad I could make someone happy, Tommy. I think usually you have to do them in a specific order in order to do perfects, but I think at this rate I'll be fine settling with just getting all 7/14. And here's the boss. All the ghosts are gone, and the worst of it is behind me. So, hey Eggman, it's... Oh hey, it's the egg golem from Adventure 2, except not really. Remember the Death Egg robot from Sonic 2? Well, you'll surely remember again. He even does the arm swing. Also, I am in trouble. I think I may need to do this a couple more times. Yep. Happy to hear it. Let's try this again. Suppose it does help having tails here to just sort of act as the oh, you jump on the arm to do it. Okay. I remember now. Also, that laser projectile seems kind of pathetic. Come at me. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Having a fair bit of an easier time with this, though. I imagine it's a lot more difficult if he actually gets you to the wall. Okay. And I think with that... I know it's a bit abrupt considering we're so close to the end, but I think we'll just leave it there for the time being. I think next stream we'll wrap up. We'll get the last remaining Super Emeralds. Tackle the true ending, and then, if we have time, start progress on Knuckles' story. But until then, I'll see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.